Happy Monday, Woodruff Road Christian Church. We're in day whatever of this isolation quarantine. Chris here coming to you with some daily devotional thoughts, trying to stay connected, making sure that we are at least interacting a bit with each other, but really with the Word, and just hoping to provide some hope and insight for some Bible study today. I'm upstairs in the exotic confines of the youth room. This is Chris on location. Next time, I'm seriously considering bringing you this video from the elevator. It'll be fun for me. We'll see. Don't get your hopes up. They'll be claustrophobic. Anyways, I want to talk about stumbling stones today. There's a segue and a shift in topic. Stumbling stones. These are aptly titled stones that would exist on your property that if someone fell over or tripped over, you would be legally obliged to take care of them if they fell. It's a stone you stumble over. And Peter, which is where we're going to be in his first letter, aptly titled 1 Peter, talks about stumbling stones and some of the things that have become stumbling stones to people. I want to talk about that today with you in the sense that I believe in this time of pandemic and isolation and anxiety that we have let a lot of things in our lives become stumbling stones, genuine stumbling stones to us, whether that is causing our faith to stumble, whether that's causing our emotions to stumble, our mood. Some of these things that usually when we're in our comfortable routine, we don't have to think twice about, have become genuine issues for us. And I know I'm struggling with this. My routine is all kind of wonky. There are things that I'm allowing to become stumbling stones in my own life. So let's look at that. And there's one thing that we have to be aware of that cannot become a stumbling stone, that becomes the cornerstone for our life. So I'm going to read from 1 Peter chapter 2. I'm going to read quite a bit here, but I'm going to start in verse 4, and I'm going to read all the way down to verse 12. So 1 Peter chapter 2, 4 through 12. You are coming to Christ, who is the living cornerstone of God's temple. He was rejected by people, but he was chosen by God for great honor. Again, that idea of a cornerstone, placing there in the building that holds everything else up. Jesus is the cornerstone. And you are living stones that God is building into his spiritual temple. What's more, you are his holy priests. Through the mediation of Jesus Christ, you offer spiritual sacrifices that please God. As the scriptures say, I am placing a cornerstone in Jerusalem, chosen for great honor, and anyone who trusts in him will never be disgraced. Yes, you who trust him recognize the honor God has given him, but for those who reject him, the stone that the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone. And he is the stone that makes people stumble, the rock that makes them fall. He's talking here about Jesus and how in that particular time, those that chose not to believe in Jesus, to them, he became a stumbling stone of faith. He brought their faith and what they believed in the law, the Pharisees in particular. He brought all of that into light and really became a stumbling stone for them. They stumble, continuing in verse 8, they stumble because they do not obey God's word, and so they meet the fate that was planned for them. Here's where Peter starts getting to it for us. But you are not like that, for you are a chosen people. You are a royal priest, a holy nation, God's very own possession. As a result, you can show others the goodness of God, for he called you out of the darkness into his wonderful light. Once you had no identity as a people, now you are God's people. Once you received no mercy, now you have received God's mercy. Peter is addressing us as a part of those living stones that God has built into his temple, all built upon the cornerstone of Jesus. Here's verse 11. Dear friends, I warn you as temporary residents and foreigners, to keep away from worldly desires that wage war against your very souls. Be careful to live properly among your unbelieving neighbors. Then even if they accuse you of doing wrong, they will see your honorable behavior, and they will give honor to God when he judges the world. So the question that we're asking today of the church, of us, those that believe, us living stones, us royal priests that God has chosen and placed in his kingdom, is how is our behavior shaping the world around us? We are temporary residents, foreigners. This world is not our home. This is a thought we're continuing from last week. Our goal is to keep away from those worldly desires that wage war against our very souls, those worldly desires that have become stumbling blocks for us. They've caused panic. They've caused anxiety. They're causing us to act in ways that Christians, those living stones in God's temple, should not act. We're acting like those who were tripped up by Christ back when he became so pivotal here in God's plan of salvation and redemption for mankind. Be careful to live properly among your unbelieving neighbors. As we respond as the church in this time of crisis and chaos, does the actions that we show our neighbors prove that Christ is our cornerstone, or that Christ is a stumbling block? Because if all we're showing is regret or anxiety or remorse or frustration, what are we showing to our neighbors? That we believe that this world is really the best that we can find? Or are we showing our neighbors that Christ, the cornerstone of all that we believe in, is better than anything in this world? We talk about how we can't go to church because we are the church. No better time than now to prove that, because we legitimately can't go to what we have called church for so long. Now is the time to be the church, to be everything that God has made us and that God has built us up to be, living stones in his holy temple. Be the church.